But as an individual, you can sponsor a band. So, if Troy Sawyer and the
Yeah, come
Elements is
sponsor us.
your favorite band.
I am so excited to welcome two wonderful individuals to the studio today. We have Emily Madero. She is the president and CEO of French Quarter Festivals since 2017. I've known you longer than that, but
I know.
thank you for your leadership. And Troy Sawyer, the renowned New Orleans-based soulful trumpeter, composer, educator, and Grammy Recording Academy member, known for leading Troy Sawyer and the Elements. I'm really interested also in knowing more about your nonprofit, Girls Play Trumpets Too.
Because they do.
They do. And Troy, so excited to have you here. And we have you all here because there's a little festival coming up called French Quarter Fest. What is it like now? You're in the countdown mode.
Yes.
So how you feeling?
Well, this is where my team shines. We plan 365 days out of the year for this moment. And, now we're in go mode. So we've got an incredible team. We've got an incredible village of sponsors and partners and supporters and crew members and volunteers. And now we get to put it all in action. So it feels great.
Yeah, we're all excited. They consider this one of the largest, I know I like to say the largest, but one of the largest free music festivals in the country.
So, as far as I'm concerned, it's the largest free music festival in the country. I believe there is an event in Pennsylvania, but it spans across a whole month, and quite frankly, that doesn't count.
I mean, we do it in 4 days.
We sure do. Actually, the French Quarter neighborhood turns into, I think it's the second or third largest city in Louisiana for that 4 days.
Amazing, yes, and everyone's very happy. And Troy, you are performing at the French Quarter Festival this year. What does that opportunity mean to you?
Every time I perform, I'm so honored and I feel privileged to play my instrument in front of my locals, in front of my people, my community. Because, we're local musicians and artists, but we're global at the same time.
Yeah.
And French Quarter Fest brings so many of our locals back to the French Quarter area, and because it's a tourist site, right? Yeah. But the locals come out for French Quarter Fest, and we support each other, and it's just a beautiful experience just to see my people out there supporting local music.
Yeah, well, talk about that vibe. I mean, you perform all over. I
Yeah.
mean, like, let's say the global stage, but you're there on the stage in the French Quarter. What are you getting back from the audience? I mean, because like you say, it's locals, it's visitors. What are you feeling?
I feel the energy because growing up in this great city, playing my trumpet since 4th grade, I picked up the trumpet, and to see my family members, see people in the community who help support me to do what I do, coming out to support me in a way that is so organic and it comes from the soul.
Yeah.
You feel that soul, you feel the energy, you feel the passion, you feel the community at French Quarter Fest.
Well, that's wonderful. I can feel it right now. Talk about your set. What can people expect in your set this year?
Yeah, so my sound is a fusion of funk, Latin, soul, and I may debut one of the songs off my new album I'm working on.
All right.
But yeah, you're going to feel the energy from me because, I don't just play the trumpet. I move around, I get into it. I have a special guest. So my nonprofit, Girls Play Trumpets Too, will be a feature artist too to come and represent what that movement is all about. So I started Girls Play Trumpets Too in 2022.
Okay.
And it's all about inspiring girls and young women to play the trumpet on the professional level, in the novice, and beginner level too. It's because growing up in this city, I didn't see any professional female trumpet players that could play on that level until my senior year in high school. There was a woman named Ingrid Jensen that came all the way from Canada to perform at Dillon University that showed me that women can play on that level too. And so when I came back to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, I'm traveling all around, and what got me into teaching music in the school system was this organization called Artists Corps New Orleans,
right,
where it was a fellowship for 2 years, and they would get professional musicians that have degrees to teach at the school that didn't have enough money in their budgets to pay for a full-time music teacher. So I did that. It was a 2-year fellowship, and they had Ellis Marcellus, Terrence Blanchard, Jermaine Bowers. They were on the board to select the fellows. So I was fortunate enough to be selected and to be in that time
right,
of where it was all about giving back to the next generation. And through giving back, I was inspiring girls to play the trumpet. and they saw the trumpet as being cool because they'll see me on commercials playing and stuff. And so years after that, the vision came to me. I said, Girls Play Trumpets Too. And I started it, and it just took off. Went from 8 girls to impacting over 200 something.
And what was
girls.
the youngest?
Youngest was 7 years old.
7 years old.
So the age range from 8 to 19.
Have you tracked that 7-year-old where that young woman is now?
Oh, so she's still playing with us.
That's great.
And she's still she's 12 now. So she's 10. She's 10.
Yeah, she probably
like the time is passing by.
But
so
she's growing in the she's growing in the
she's
in the
growing
music
into it,
and the instrument. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so it's amazing. In Girls Play Trumpets Too performed at French Quarter Fest. They performed and sat in with the Pinettes Brass Band.
Pinettes, great.
And the original Pinettes gave us our first donation. And I remember that moment,
That's fantastic.
And so, it's been growing, and we have partnerships too with Inspiring NOLA, with First Line Schools, and we have done a Kelly Clarkson show, CBS Mornings, with
That's wonderful.
Michelle Miller. Yeah, so it's just an amazing thing. You will see Girls Play Trumpets Too perform at the French Quarter Fest as special guests.
And Emily, this is what's so magical about what's happening at the French Quarter Fest. I mean, you're bringing the local talent to the world on all these stages, and it's grown so large over the last several years. Talk about the growth of the French Quarter Festival over the years.
Yeah, well, this will be our 43rd year, if you can believe it. And that first year really was one stage in Jackson Square, and
it was a
just
thank
party.
you, I think, to the city for the
Well,
World's
the
Fair
city had
construction.
gone through a lot of construction. There
Right.
was street construction, there was sidewalk construction, and a lot of businesses in the quarter were suffering because of that. So
And Mayor
not
Dutch Morial,
unlike what
right?
we see today going on, our founding mission is still relevant today, but Dutch Morial said, let's throw a party. Let's get locals back to this incredible historic neighborhood and encourage people to visit it and to support the businesses. And so it was a good time. And we just have been doing it ever since. Everything that we do, French Quarter Festivals, Inc. is actually a nonprofit. And we are here to uplift and support our creatives and our cultural economy. So everything we do is through the lens of celebrating local artists, local culture, local chefs. All of the talent that you see there is New Orleans and Louisiana-based talent. So this year we'll have over 300 performances across 20 stages. And I think what's so great about it is, it is a global platform. So it's everything we do is free and open to the public. We think that access to arts and cultural programming is key to quality of life and to who we are as a community and as a city. And that's what makes it such a vibrant and beautiful place to live in and also visit.
Right.
But we also bring the world to visit during this time. So we have people from across the country, Europe, Japan, and it's just an incredible time to visit because not only do you have access to these amazing performances, but it's a great time to explore the French Quarter
Right.
neighborhood and test over 275 dishes. Come hungry and stay long.
Well, I was about to ask you, and I'll ask both of y'all the same question. What was the first time you experienced the French Quarter Fest? What was the first time? Can you remember the first time you went? to the
It's
event?
funny. I don't know if I remember the first time I went, but I have a very vivid memory of the first time I brought my kids. I have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. And it was 2015, and for anybody who worked French Quarter Festival, that was an epic rain out. It was 4 days of rain, and their memories are all a little bit traumatized by that year. But I hadn't joined the team yet, and it was magical. We just put our raincoats on. I have this picture of my youngest. It was the first time she had had a snowball. So we took her to Plum Street Snowball on the riverfront. We were at the Abita Beer stage, and I managed to get a picture of her of the moment she sort of put that sugary ice in her mouth, and her eyes just lit up. They had a great time.
She had been born again. That's fantastic. What about you, Troy?
I would say as a kid, just growing up in the city, my mom and my people would always bring me to festivals, and I come from musicians in my family, and so I just remember as a kid just going to the French Quarter because my mom would always bring me to places that was like, okay, tourists would go there, but like, no, this is for us too. And so I remember going to French Quarter Fest and just hearing all types of music, and I'm like, yeah. I always look at people on the stage. I want to be on the stage one day. I want to perform on that stage. And so for me to perform on the stage at First Quarter Fest is just a testament to, this city of inspiring you to do whatever you want to do, and to be around this culture that just is, you can't run away from it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm on that stage rocking the crowd, and I was, as a kid, looking at other people doing the same thing.
That's great. And people who see you can also follow you throughout the year because you're touring, you're all over.
Yeah.
Tell us some of the things that you're going to be doing this coming year.
So this coming year, just focusing more on my new album.
Okay.
And setting up some tours. Of course, we have to travel to spread the good news to the whole world. And that's why they come to New Orleans, because that's what we got to do from Louis Armstrong. Is just follow the blueprint. They got to travel. So just lining up some gigs and tours, and then with Girls Play Trumpets Too. That has really gotten me busy. So when I started Girls Play Trumpets Too, it took off so fast. So we had to focus on that more and sacrifice my career to a certain degree. So now I have a team that's developing. And Emily, we talk about the nonprofit world, so she helps me and gives me advice about some things too. And so it has expanded. Our staff has expanded to where now I can really focus more on the music, on my artistry and creating. So I'm in a creative mode right now with my new album that I'm working on. That was inspired, and it's been inspired by my time going to Belize.
Okay.
And Punta Gorda, Belize. So we have Girls Play Trumpets Too in Belize and then Tanzania. So we have our culture exchange. And, Belize has such a vibe. And it reminds me of New Orleans and the old New Orleans. And so, this album is going to be a vibe. I'm excited.
Beautiful. And I know people can help support Girls Play Trumpets Too. They can
definitely.
find it.
You can go to Girls Play Trumpets Too, TOO.org, to support in various ways.
Very good.
Because we need the support.
Good. Troy, you were part of a very famous group that still marches almost every day of the year. I know them. I was a Brother Martin grad, so I was always kind of jealous of this band, the Marching 100. Tell us about that. Growing up at St. Aug, being part of that great group, and your experiences and what that means. What do these high school groups mean?
Right. So what inspired me to go to St. Aug was my cousin who played football for Mississippi Valley State University. They were playing Southern University in Baton Rouge. So all the family members went to Baton Rouge to see him play, right? So, it's halftime. And I'm thinking, Southern University's band's going to hit the field, or Mississippi Valley State. No, it was St. Augustine High School that did the halftime show for that particular game. And that was in the 90s, where they had almost 200 band members. And after they did this phenomenal halftime show, of course, they closed out playing Do What You Wanna by Rebirth. And then at the end of the game, people battle, the battle of the bands. St. Augustine High School Band, the Marching 100, against Southern University, the Human Jukebox, going back and forth. Everybody was like, that's a high school band, basically blowing SU out.
Wow.
And it was like, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to St. Aug. I'm going to say I'm going to march in the band. And then going to the camp, because I attended the St. Augustine.
Did you have an
High School
instrument in
camp.
mind, or were you playing?
I was playing the
the
trumpet at the time.
That was your instrument.
So, they had a camp before you reach the high school level. You had a summer camp.
Kind of try
to prepare, it was like to prepare for that transition to going to high school and marching in that band.
Yeah.
And so I got, I did a year of that camp. And when I finally got to St. Aug and being in that band, it was a privilege and it was an honor. Because the one thing, once you step your foot in that building, they instill pride in you and they instill excellence. Everyone has to motivate each other to be better. And that's the thing that we have at, you go to St. And you don't realize that until after you graduate. And then you think about it and reflect. But like being in that marching band room with the great Mr. Hampton, and we call him Hamp.
Hamp.
Oh, man, Hamp, and Ray Johnson was his assistant. He didn't play around. He was all about, we're going to be the best. Yeah. We're not going to settle for less. And, everyone was his practice. Because a lot of people left St. Aug. There were serious musicians to go to NOLA because at that time, they wouldn't allow us to go to NOLA and do both.
And you crossed paths with PJ, right?
Yeah, so, PJ Martin, he was right under me, and we played together in the jazz band. And it's like so many people would come from the community that were playing professionally to sit in with us, to play with us. And then the alumni is so strong. They have maybe 50 people in the band room, just like telling us stories of the greatness. And it keeps us going, keep us inspired. But to even march on the streets of New Orleans, when they say St. Augustine High School is coming through, like everyone is waiting for St. Aug to come through.
Amazing.
And you feel that power. It's just like riding on the flow, you know. I used to ride on the flow for Zulu. So, you know, everyone's waiting for Zulu to come through, and you feel that power, that adrenaline rush.
Coming down the
and
street.
it makes you want to be the best when people are looking for you, and you got to represent.
Well,
so,
speaking of the global impact of the Marching 100, they represented at D-Day ceremonies
right.
in France last year.
Exactly.
It was an amazing opportunity for the students, but also for New Orleans to be represented in such a strong way.
Right. So it's always been a global, world-renowned marching band. I remember when I was going to St. I was marching the band, we had the opportunity to go to Japan, but our uniforms were ragged. They were just like torn up. And so Ham was like, no, we're not going to go out there representing like that, you know. And so there was this guy that had an insurance company that donated a lot of money to St. Augustine High School band to buy new uniforms. But that was a year after, so the opportunity passed us by. But to see them travel, it's amazing experience, because I know, you know, the first time I got out the country, it just opened up my mind and my perspective on life. Wow. So for those kids to experience that in high school, how music can take you all over the world.
But you speak about the structure that HAMP gave you, and high school bands in general normally have that discipline. You know,
oh yeah,
you got to read the music, you got to practice, got to perform as a team, and y'all personify that so greatly at St. Aug. So anyway, thanks for sharing that. That was so important for us to hear. Now, Emily, someone for the first time is coming to the French Quarter Fest.
Okay.
Believe it or not, they've just heard about it. They're coming into town. What's the advice? What do you give? Tell them what to do.
Well, first of all, get a hotel room in the French Quarter, because you will have your own private suite in the middle of this wild, wonderful family reunion block party. You know, we have a progressive build. So that means on Thursday, opening day, we have 8 stages. And then on Friday, we grow to 14. And then by Saturday and Sunday, of course, we've got small stages all throughout the French Quarter neighborhood. But I would say, you know, download the app so you have all the information. We have over 75 food vendors, which is a record this year. So there is lots to try and explore.
Including Plum Street Snowball? They're back?
Plum Street Snowball.
Street
We've got some
Snowball.
new folks. You know, Willie Mays is an iconic New Orleans institution, but this will be the first time they are at the festival. And one of my favorite days out of the year is our food tasting. And they have an incredible chimichurri wing, which is to die for. But so you want to, you know, kind of plan out the
bring your
couple of
appetite,
days.
you're saying. Bring your appetite.
Bring your appetite. You're always going to have a couple of dishes you want to try. You're going to have certain artists that are on your bucket list. But my advice is don't overplan. You know, leave yourself open to explore.
Yeah.
You know, wander into the BK House courtyard and see a band you might never have seen before. There's some incredible artists that are going to be playing on both large stages and small stages, and I think that's what's, you know, this alchemy of really wonderful, diverse experiences.
Yeah, and Troy.
Yeah, that's what makes it so special, because you can explore and find and discover new music, new bands. They're from here, or they're based here.
And then we have the iconic names like yours, and we have some wonderful female entertainers.
Yeah, we've
Want to list
got,
some
you
of those?
know, Irma Thomas, the Soul Queen of New Orleans. You know, she has had an incredible career. We're so grateful that she
And this is like
comes
home for her. The French Quarter Fest has always been like her place to be.
Absolutely.
That's
yeah.
fantastic. Who else do you have?
Well, PJ Morton is going to be playing this year, which is really exciting. It's the first time he's been back for over 14 years. You know, I was just talking about some special events that are happening at the BK House. Andre Boren, who's, you know, Johnny Sketch and the Dirty Notes is an incredible, fun band. They are so much energy and so much fun. But of course, they're all classically trained musicians. They went to Loyola and have their own projects. So those are the types of spin-off things that you can go and, you know,
That's
discover.
Great. That's great. Troy, final words. What do you hope to gain out of the French Quarter Fest this year and the girls who are playing trumpet?
I would say this year represents progress. And because it's bigger than me right now, because the girls just have taken over, and God said, you know what, this is what I'm going to give you, just to mentor them and guide them, to empower them with different tools that they need to have to be successful,
Right.
and to watch them grow and develop, because we're really pushing them to improvise.
Right.
You know, I
And
always
they'll
say,
become mentors themselves, right?
Yeah,
They'll
yeah,
become
right.
teachers
Definitely,
themselves.
definitely. And then for me, because like they say, when you teach, you learn. And so I'm learning from them, which allows me to grow creatively. They inspire me to shed, to practice more.
That's
You
great.
know, and the one thing by me going to the Satchmo Jazz Camp back in the day, where it was like Trombone Shorty, it was all of us, John Baptiste, and so many people that are playing right now. And those teachers that were teaching us, they're no longer with us anymore. From Elwood Kid Jordan to Clyde Kurt to Alvin Baptiste.
Yeah.
And we're the ones right now
It's your turn.
that are passing it down to the next generation. Yeah. And I feel like everyone that's playing right now that came from that generation under, the Satchmo Jazz Camp and NOLA and stuff, we're the ones that are doing it and passing it on to the next generation. That's the great thing about New Orleans and our music and our culture. We do a great job of passing it on to the next generation,
Thank
our
you.
culture, our music, and that keeps going. Because one thing you have to understand, where we come from and where the music come from, to bring it forward. And one thing, Roger Dickerson, who taught us composition at Suno when I went to Suno, and Terrence Blanchard, he would always say, you got to learn the rules to break the rules. And when you break the rules, you're moving the music forward.
Right.
So you got to learn the rules
And
first.
making new rules.
Yeah,
Making
definitely.
new rules. And Emily, final words from you. How can people support the French Quarter Fest?
Well, first, come out and have a good time. It's going to be April 16th through the 19th. Go to FrenchQuarterFest.org. And you know what? If you have an amazing time, the festival will always be free, but I encourage everybody to pay it forward. Buy some merchandise.
Yes.
I'm repping some 2026 merchandise right now. But every time, you purchase a beverage on site, or there will be QR codes, you can leave a little tip. Keep the festival free.
And it's a
make sure
wonderful
that-
festival to sponsor. So anyone interested in sponsoring this going forward, I know that get in touch with you.
Yeah,
because
you
it's
can
a great
even-
branding opportunity.
There are opportunities, of course. We've got our corporate sponsors that might help underwrite the cost of a stage. But as an individual, you can sponsor a band. So, if Troy Sawyer and the
come
Elements
sponsor
is
us.
your favorite band, it's a cool way
Yeah.
that you get some hospitality passes,
musicians
you
are
get
being
front of
paid for
stage
their work.
access, and you
Yes.
could introduce your favorite act.
Oh, that's even better. Get up on stage.
That's right.
Y'all, thank y'all. Good luck this week.
Thanks for having us.
And in the coming festival. And we wish you all the best. And we'll see you on stage.
We'll see you out there.
All right.
Let's go. Rock your soul.
Hey, y'all, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel and turn on your notifications. Please follow us. We've got new shows each and every week. And a very, very special thanks to all of our sponsors who are making this possible. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.